Hello and welcome to the Lolly Investment Programme. This week I'm talking about the charges we pay on pensions and investment funds. It's a hot topic after Labour leader Ed Miliband told his 2012 annual conference that he wanted to attack the scandal of rip-off pension charges. It's a great target for Miliband. No one likes the idea of fat cats skimming the cream off our pension pots. The more our money is eaten up in charges, the less we'll have to live on when we retire. Miliband outraged pension providers with claims that charges of up to 4% a year were depriving people of half the pensions they were entitled to. His critics say Miliband is scaremongering and that pension charges tend to be far lower. So what's going on? Who's telling the truth? A bit of historical context is needed when looking at pension charges. First, it's worth remembering that it was Labour that mounted the biggest ever raid on pensions with tax changes brought in by Chancellor Gordon Brown after the election in 1997. If he hadn't done that, we might not be quite so worried about the state of our pensions today. That said, Labour has a good track record on pension charges. Until the 1990s, the personal pensions and group pension schemes sold by insurance companies were incredibly bad value. An array of fees and penalties meant that savers could easily lose up to 4% a year in charges. This blatant profiteering had its heyday in the 1980s pensions mis-selling scandal, which Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government unleashed with some misguided reforms. To its credit, New Labour put a stop to all this. When Labour came to power, it launched stakeholder pensions. These capped the annual charge at 1%, and though it was later raised to 1.5%, it meant the era of rip-off personal pensions was over. Pension providers rightly claim that where 4% charges exist today is only on a few older contracts. They say that the vast majority of schemes fall well below 1%. To quote Dee Ream's New Labour anthem, things can only get better. And they did. So why is Miliband banging on about pension charges now? If Miliband is really concerned about pension charges, then if he gets into power, all he needs to do is extend the National Employment Savings Trust, which was launched this week. NEST, as it's known for short, is an initiative to encourage millions of low-paid workers to start saving into a low-cost pension scheme. NEST was originally a Labour idea that won cross-party support, which is why the Lib Dem Tory coalition has brought it in. NEST could be used to drive down company pension charges even further. In using the 4% figure, Miliband is actually alluding to a different issue. This is to do with the charges on the investment funds that many pension schemes invest in, rather than the schemes themselves. Until recently, investment funds disclosed an annual management charge of around 1% to 1.5% a year. They were often criticised for not including all the costs of running a fund. So, fund managers are introducing a new ongoing charge, which includes these items. This lifts the costs to around 1.6 or 2% a year. But that hasn't stopped the debate. Critics say investment funds should also disclose the trading costs they incur when buying and selling shares within the ongoing charge. They say a very actively traded fund could easily double annual costs to 3% or even 4% a year. That's the rip-off Miliband is talking about. There's no doubt these trading costs do exist. But are they a charge? In the hands of a skilled fund manager who buys the right shares at the right time, these costs could boost the returns to investors rather than detract from them. At the heart of this debate about charges is the issue of how do we reorganise financial services in this country so that it serves the public in a cost-efficient way. The trouble with financial services in this country is there are too many middlemen getting between you and your money. So, next week I will talk about how you can manage your own pension and keep these charges to a bare minimum.